Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this wonderful session. Amar, Aditya, Aishwarya, Chirag, Edward, Harshavardhani, Krishna, Mariam, Martin, Michael, and Nagendra, Neha, Pavitra, Rachel, Raja, Ravi, Sanjay, Satish, Sridhar, Venkata, and all. Thank you so much for joining. Quickly, let's do a brief introduction of myself and want to know about yourself and what you are aspiring from this course. So, let me introduce myself first. I am Vijay Sharma. I'm a hybrid cloud engineer. I'm a Microsoft certified administrator associate and GCP certified cloud architect. I have 12 plus years of experience in multi-cloud DevOps and as an SRE engineer. So based out of this experience, I felt that many of the DevOps engineer felt lagging in monitoring area of theirs. They know how to build CI/CD pipeline. They know how to create resources in cloud, whichever cloud you choose. But when it comes to monitoring and observability, many people lack certain fundamentals regarding what needs to be monitored and what is observability, what tools are out there. So this course, we want to present you to give a fundamental understanding towards what are the tools required for observability and monitoring, basically what is monitoring and what is observability and many other things. So let's start, and I want you to put it in the chat, your name, where are you from, and what are you expecting from this course. Okay, can you quickly in 1 2 minutes can you put it in the chat so that I will come to understand your expectation from the course, so that I can design this short course, which is hardly like 8 days. So it is a power packed course. So we will not delay much in we will use every minute of this course to give you the best valuable value for the worth you are paying for. So okay, I want everyone, please put one line at least about yourself. Where are you from and what are you expecting out of this course? Okay, quickly guys, quickly. Okay, hope I'm audible to everyone. Yeah, good, good. Uh, Rachel is from England, monitoring and log. Yes, great. Aditya is from Noida. Welcome, Aditya. Suren, welcome, Suren. Sanjay is from Mumbai. Great. Welcome, Sanjay. Welcome, Neha. Harshavardhani, welcome, Harshavardhani. Mariam, welcome, Mariam. Thanks for joining, even if it is late night for you. Thank you. Chirag, welcome, Chirag. Okay, Krishna from Hyderabad and Edward. Hi, Edward. Krishna from Hyderabad, and then there are two Krishnas here. Fantastic, fantastic. Venkat Krishna and Krishna Gunjay. Welcome everyone. Sridhar from Hyderabad, Azim, Ravi from Noida, Raja from Hyderabad. Welcome Raja. Welcome Azim and Ravi and Michael. Welcome Michael. I see you are from USA. Welcome Nagendra. Welcome Nagendra and Martin. Welcome guys. Superb, superb to see energetic comments out there and. There are a few more comments out there. Aishwarya, yeah, Satish. Oh, welcome, Satish. Venkata Krishna. Okay, how to create dashboard and monitoring. Yes, yes, we are going to cover all those things. Deepika is from Maharashtra and she want to learn monitoring Kubernetes. Fantastic. We are going to do that. And then Harshit is from Pune and expectation is to learn Prometheus and able to monitor all the infrastructure metrics. Okay, cool, cool. Pavitra from Madurai. Welcome, Pavitra. Nikhil, welcome, Nikhil. Madhuri, welcome, Madhuri. So, guys, so I have briefly introduced myself as a Google certified cloud architect and SRE and DevOps engineer, and I also Microsoft certified. So, all this throughout this journey, I have already introduced myself. That I have observed different engineers, very talented engineers in their own arenas. They are very expertised in one or other cloud platforms, and they are very good in CI/CD tool building. But when it comes to monitoring and observability, they lack. What happens when it lacks is that you cannot perform to the 100% of your full potential. And whenever some issue happens, there will be certain alerting and monitoring needs are there, and there you might get stuck. So this course helps you to understand how to build an effective system based on the principles set down by none other than Google. Okay, we take this course from Google's SRE handbook. We and patched it with my own experience. What are the actual in ground level? What are what are being used more, and what can be given priority over other things. Okay. So quickly, there are some formal announcements. So the course starts on from today, and it starts from 8 a.m. IST sharp, and it extends to 8 days. Plus 1 day if we want to cover any miscellaneous topics, but I'm scheduling it for 8 days, and this is the general information. For any queries, please contact the support team at these numbers. I'm going to put them in the chat. You need to call them for any queries. Michael has asked it out. Can you have a job only doing monitoring and observability? Prometheus and Grafana. Only Prometheus and Grafana. You need to add few more things, Michael. I'll come to that. Good question, but keep it till end of the course. I will. Yes, correct. Yes, golden signals we'll discuss, and we will do a hands-on project by the end of the course, where you will observe the golden signals with the help of Prometheus and Grafana using Kubernetes. Okay. So guys, keep the doubts for the end of the session. We will quickly introduce to the monitoring Grafana, and we will. Oops. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, please join the WhatsApp community as suggested by our support team. This is the link I have also posted, and the numbers I have provided. If you have any queries, please call them and get it uh, uh, resolved. And the note, first two sessions will be free to attend, and from third session onwards, the Zoom link will be shared to only those registered with this course. Okay, so first two are free of cost, and have a audit this course, and then I'm sure like you would like this course and the offerings. If you feel that you are getting value, please register and get the full benefit of the course. And all the sessions will be recorded, and the notes will be provided through our learning management portal, and we will provide access to those registered participants to the graphic portal, and you will be able to access them lifetime. Okay. And our classes will be there from Monday to Friday. Saturday and Saturday will be, weekend is off, and same is from the support team will be available from Monday to Saturday. The numbers I have provided, you can connect with them. And coming back to the essential website, these are our sites. So please visit our logiclabtechnology.com. There are hundreds of courses available. Please have a look at it, and whichever you are interested, you can enroll, have a look at the course syllabus and everything. Okay, second. Yeah, there is a payment link available in the chat. So whoever are interested, please start registering for the course, and we'll start the course now. Okay, let's do it full screen. Okay, recording is on. Yeah. So let's imagine there is a scenario. Let's start with a story. Okay, there is a person called let's say John Doe, some ex-person, and he's a DevOps engineer, and he's meticulously working on building infra for his project, and he has built his DevOps pipelines, and the infra is set up, the dev environment is set up. Now the application deployment happened. Now, and everything looks fine, rosy, and the client is also very happy. Suddenly, one fine morning, the application goes down. Okay, the dev environment is down, or let's say prod environment is down. Okay, now the first question X gets is, what the hell is, what happened? Like how where to start with? What are the things I should look at to resolve this issue? Okay, if there is no a proper set of monitoring and observable setup for your organization or for your thing, then it is very difficult to troubleshoot, and it's like finding a needle from a haystack, right? Okay, you cannot, you have to have a proper step by step structured way to troubleshoot things. For that, you need help of metrics and logs, and the whole thing is called observability. So let's go into introducing what monitoring is, what observability is, and have a quick. This is an introductory session, so you will be given brief overview into what we are going to learn. Okay, so let's start with foundations of observability. Basically, earlier we used to have this monolithic applications. Okay, What does monolithic architecture means? Essentially, the whole application is packaged. The functions and services are packaged into a single monolithic application. If one of that breaks down, your entire application goes haywire, right? So all the services in one application and leading to like in the UI part and the business logic into one application, all shares all the services and the functionality sharing single database. So this has a drawback. Okay, so what is the drawback? In order to make a change, the entire application used to be deployed again and again, right? So that is a very cumbersome process. And incremental improvement was taking more and more time. And if something goes down, you need to look at all the areas. Like you want to, if you lose your any of your coin somewhere in a big ground, you have to search the entire ground for that, right? It's like that. If something goes down, you don't know like which service and where. So that's the headache with monolithic architecture. Then comes evolution into microservices based architecture. What is a microservice? Microservice is a small part or functionality of a bigger application, but it is loosely coupled with all the services, and it as an individual service can be updated, can be troubleshooted, can be upgraded by itself. Okay, so basically individual services are loosely coupled, and each services will have its own storage, and UI services are separated from backend logic, and they can be created in such a way that each can have its own database or are connected to an external database. So microservices architecture has helped developers and DevOps engineers to reduce the burden of bringing the application to market in a faster pace. Okay, if a new feature is developed, the particular microservice can be a new version of microservices can be brought into market at a faster pace. So what are the advantages we are getting? The changes can be deployed without changing the entire software. You all might know, like as a DevOps engineer, several releases happen every day, several builds happen every day with each microservice, right? So then development of service can be done simultaneously, so that we can save time, we can bring to market much faster and than our competitors. So basically, from the waterfall methodology to the continuous integration and delivery methodology, they took a giant leap forward. Now, according to this improvement, we also need to understand how DevOps can be more efficient, and how we can reliably set up our infrastructure 24/7, 365 days monitoring can be done. So for that purpose, we have something called a observability tools and monitoring tools. Basically, why are they relevant? Why do we need observability, and why do we need uh, monitoring tools for? Basically, when we evolved into microservices based architecture, there are several services to monitor, right? There is not a single monolithic application. There are several services to monitor. So we need to have such a system where each service can report, can be scanned, and any issues with the services can be monitored at our fingertips. There is a necessity. And then at any point of time, the service to service communication can fail because of any reason. Then we need to identify immediately when the service to service communication fails. So that needs observability tools with us. Then if there are any vulnerabilities that crop up, any CVE is found, then we need to know those security threats as early as possible, so that we can patch them as early as possible. Then if we want to deploy any new changes, right, the present stable setup should be monitored, and accordingly the new ones, if the new version of the application is not working fine, or the deployment is not is bro it's breaking the application, then we need to quickly roll back to the earlier application. For all these requirements, what is the fundamental thing? We need to have some visibility into the system. That's called observability. Okay, so what is monitoring and what is observability? Let's understand these two words first, and then let's try to understand how they get differentiated. Let's say now you all might have seen your bike or car dashboard, right? Now, what does the dashboard gives us? The dashboard gives us several important indications as to what is happening with the system, what is happening with my machine. Okay, so monitoring is basically collecting and visualizing the data. Okay, it's not only collecting the data from the microservices or our infra, it also about the data in a fashion where the system's health can be viewed and also can be tracked. This is monitoring. Okay, monitoring is about collecting the data, visualizing the data so that our systems can be monitored and systems health can be tracked. This is the main goal. When we do monitoring, there are three questions that we will ask. What is the service we are monitoring, and is the service on or not? For example, let's say, see at the right side, we have a car dashboard here, right? So the left indicator says that our RPM is approximately at 4,000. Our vehicle is moving at approximately at 4,000 RPM, right? So that means our vehicle is moving. That means the service is on. Okay. Now the second question is the service functioning as expected? So the middle one, the central dashboard is showing us the speed at which we are progressing towards our destination. Yes, the car is moving, but is the service performing well? Is my car or vehicle is healthy? Do we have any signals? See, the engine light is on and the battery is giving red signal. Okay, there are certain signals saying our machines, certain issues are cropping up. Okay, so these are certain things which indicate us that okay, there is something wrong with your machine. You might have to take it to garage or servicing and get it fixed, right? So now to address this question, similarly translate this to our environments and our infrastructure. So the fundamental question will be, our infra is working as it is expected or not? If it is not expecting, what are the issues? Whether it is throwing any errors or not? Our dashboards should be able to capture this data and it should visualize us so that we can track and we can always monitor the health of our infra and applications. Okay, there are two categories: infra monitoring and application performance monitoring, APM. Okay, these things are very important for us. This is called monitoring. Then what is observability? Observability is a, monitoring is a subset of observability. That means the data is collected for monitoring is called telemetry data, and we need to have a comprehensive way of structuring those metrics and the data collected. Having a holistic view about the entire system is called observability. Just coming again, monitoring is collecting and visualizing, but observability is the monitoring is about how well we capture the data. Observability is about how to take steps such that it will not happen again. Understood? Monitoring is a subset of observability. To just give you an overview, if you have a observability as a bigger circle, monitoring is one subset of it. Okay, observability is a broader umbrella term we use for all sorts of monitoring and steps necessary to make sure that an issue doesn't crop up again and again. So coming back to like, let's say we translate it to, let's say we want to track or we want to monitor our website. Let's say logiclabtechnology.com, we want to monitor. How do we monitor it? We create a whether we need to check whether the service is on or not. Then we can do a get API call to the logicslabtech.com, and if it returns 200 OK as our HTTP status code, that means that particular service is working fine and working well. Now, what about services function as expected or not? It is on, but is it on and functioning as expected? Then we will capture either any errors, 404s or any 502s happening, or any 500 internal server errors are happening. We can capture such data to understand whether the application inside our VMs or application running within our pods or containers working or well or not. Then if the service performing well or not, that means whether the users are able to get the experience as we expected or not. That means whether there is any latency or not, whether the throughput is proper or not, whether we are getting timely response or not, whether there is any delay, how to optimize it. So capturing the data is part of monitoring, and not only getting the metrics and logs. So taking steps and building systems such that we get those alerts, and also we make a system, develop a system that such that an issue doesn't repeat. This is the observability. So observability is an umbrella term. Monitoring is a subset of it. So in our course, we will understand how monitoring can be done with the help of certain tools such as Prometheus and Grafana. Okay, the foundation in observability, we have certain there are certain tools and certain things, and there are things such as MTTD, MTTR. We will learn in coming classes. Okay, basically, whatever data we collect is called telemetry data. Okay, this telemetry data is used to find where the problem might be. Okay, so in order to have a proper successful DevOps setup, or as an SRE engineer, in order to have your environment reliable enough to have an uptime of 24/7, 365 days, you need to have certain tools and certain parameters. There are certain parameters we do as a part of observability. That is mean time to detection. That means whenever an error happens, how much time it takes us to identify the and become aware of the issue. Basically, become coming to know that how much time has passed since the issue occurred. Then mean time to resolve, as the name itself suggests, after detecting, how much time you have taken to resolve that issue. Okay, that depends on several issues, such as whether the issue came up because of any third party issue, like any environment went down in particular region of Azure or GCP, or is it own your infra went down because of any configuration issue. It all depends on several things. So we need to keep track of these things. And coming to our application, we have certain layers, right? We have our UI layer, service layer, infra layer. Which methods of monitoring we have to use for which type of layer? For example, there are certain things called use method. We will go into deep all these things. I'm just giving you a cursory overview of this observability terminology. Just get to know what this terminology is, then we will go into deep, and we will use this Prometheus and Grafana and other tools to understand this better. Okay, so for infrastructure layer, we use something called a use method. For service layer, we will have a red method, and we will also use golden signals for this purpose. And finally, for UI layer, we will use something for some vitals such as core web vitals. So what is red method? So red method is more oriented towards how requests are performing, or based on the request. For example, how many requests per second, that is rate or throughput, how is it? Then are there any failed requests happening? For example, HTTP 500 errors are happening. And what is the delay? So R for rate, E for errors, and D for duration. This is an acronym given by Google. Okay. So this red method is one of the methods used for which thing? For service layer. So if our application performance, when we are doing application performance monitoring, we use red method, so that what are the requests and how to monitor our applications. Similarly, for our infra layer, we will use method. Okay, what is the USE mean? U means utilization. How much of my infra, like VM or a Kubernetes cluster, or my any of the resources underlying, how much CPU and disk space, memory, how is the utilization? How is the then saturation? How much network queue length or network saturation? Is there any network saturation or network congestion is happening or not? Finally, any errors are happening or not. For example, you can identify certain disk write errors happening, certain out of memory kills happening in containers. Okay, if you have worked with Kubernetes, you know that OOM and other things. So basically, use method are this three USE, utilization, saturation, errors, are used. Duration is used for application performance monitoring. And there are certain golden signals which are suggested by Google's site reliability engineering team, which is the foremost authentic body on observability and site reliability engineering. They propose that we can, if we have to monitor only four metrics, what could be those four metrics which would give us enough view into our system. So those four golden signals, they have classified into latency, traffic, errors, and saturations. We have discussed latency. Latency is the delay between the request and the response. Okay, when you request and after what time you are getting the response. If there is more delay, that means that there is something wrong with the system. Either it could be DNS resolution, either it could be your application which is starving for resources. It could be anything. Okay, then traffic at network level or at throughput level. Are there any issues? Whether proper resolution is happening or not? Are there any network security groups which are blocking? Any network security rules which are blocking? Or how the traffic throughput is? If we need to increase the bandwidth, these are things are traffic related. Then error, whether what sort of errors we are facing, whether it is just an application related error like page not found 404, or it is the issue with the application itself like internal server error, or it could be some issue with some gateway in between like 502 or 504. Like you can face certain issues at any level, right? So these errors have to be captured. You should have a quick overview into what error leads to what things. So anything other than 200 and 300s are errors. Okay, if you get a response like 200, that means it is well on monitoring. If you are getting anything around 300, that means any redirects are happening. So that's like a warning, but not an error. But anything happening with 400 series and 500 series as your HTTP response, then that is an error. You need to monitor them. Then saturation. How are the resources performing? Whether my CPU allocated CPU and memory and network and storage, are they sufficient enough for my application to run? So are they saturated, or still I have way? How to schedule scaling based on the saturation signals? You will plan your scaling strategy, right? Auto scaling and all you do, right? So you base your scaling strategy based on this saturation, and you plan your infra and other things based on the other golden signals. So these are the 4 golden signals suggested by Google. Then there are core web vitals for your UI monitoring. So this is basically how when a user tries to load a page, how he is perceiving, whether the whole page is loading. The largest content full paint is nothing but the full page load, how it is happening, whether it is happening partially or fully, or is there any delay or partial, like that. Okay, then first input delay. Then how is the responsiveness of the page? That means when I click on the page and till the full page load, how is the responsiveness? And if you click on a functionality, how it is responding? Then cumulative layout shift. This is perceived stability. That means, are there any inconsistencies in the page? So these are some core web vitals we use for UI level monitoring. So basically, as I've said, monitoring is a part of observability. Basically, in monitoring, what we do, we want to know what to monitor in advance, such as we are doing infra monitoring or something, or application monitoring, what metrics we are collecting. This thing is called uh, monitoring. But whereas observability is not about just collecting, it is also about gathering actionable data, so that we will have a holistic view into the entire system, and it we should be able to zero in on the root cause of the issue, why, where it has happened, why it has happened, and when it has happened, how to take steps so that it will not repeat again. This is observability. So monitoring and observability both go hand in hand. Okay, uh, uh, they are not alternative. They are part of monitoring is a part of observability. So I have decided, right? Observability is more about uh, addressing the concerns uh, from the data we got from monitoring. Okay, so we have monitoring alone. We can keep an eye on collecting the data. Observability is about more complex distributed systems. If there are issues with our distributed systems, how to plan and how to mitigate the issues. Then monitoring alone, if we have it is suited for monolithic applications rather than a microservices based architecture. So similarly, monitoring just tells issue has occurred, but observability tells why, where, when, and how it has to be mitigated. So that is the fundamental differences. Okay, there are certain types of data. I have said that monitoring has data, right? We catch certain data, we fetch certain data, and we try to understand, and we try to get the details from our data, right? So monitoring, excuse me guys, yeah, monitoring will have certain data which will classified into melt techniques. Till now you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, please put it in the chat. Otherwise, Yeah, someone has raised their hand. Okay, okay. Who has raised their hand? Yeah, yeah, Sachin, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Just a quick question. What is the requirement to set up Grafana or Prometheus? What is
This
the
is very
basic?
introductory class. We will be discussing everything in the
o-
class. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank
Yeah, sure. You can mute yourself. Thanks, Sachin. Yeah, Kasi, please
Hi,
unmute
hi.
yourself and you can ask.
Yeah, just I wanted to check. So this monitoring and observability tools. So is it a tool or so we wanted to write a
Okay.
code?
Okay. Monitoring is a methodology like DevOps. When we say
Okay.
DevOps, it has certain tools, right? Platform
Right,
tools,
right.
and there are certain tools which we use for infra setup, like IAC and Terraform, right? So,
Mm.
but together we call DevOps. Similarly, monitoring is a methodology or a process. For
Mm.
that to happen, we need certain tools, right? We are using in this particular course, we will use certain open source tools such as Prometheus and Grafana to fulfill our monitoring needs.
Okay. So do we need to write a code in that one? Or?
Okay. Uh, SQL or any query language have you worked earlier?
Yes.
It would be very similar. You don't need to write any code, but to query your metrics and get the necessary data, you might have to write some queries. For that, there is a separate
Oh,
query language called PromQL, which is similar to your SQL. If you know SQL or if you don't know SQL, also you can learn PromQL, which is basically query language. Even without
okay.
that, you can simply use any AI technique to give you the query. You just enter the. I will show you that at the end of the course. If you can't learn PromQL, how to get the query of your requirement, and you can get the thing.
Yeah.
Basically, these are ready tools. You might not need to write code, okay, unless you
Okay.
want to create your connectors and other things, but that's not the scope of the course. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, this is my last question I am asking. Actually,
uh,
I am working in the middleware tools like Delbumi, Tipco. You might be
mm,
knowing them.
mhm,
So I wanted to integrate this one with the Boomi or Boomi services or Boomi processes or Tipco
mm,
processes. So
mm.
can I do with this one?
Okay, we will in the second or third module, we will introduce to certain connectors and certain
No, no.
tools.
Just I am not asking. I am not asking straight away. Can we
Mm.
do it or not? That's what my question.
For a particular tool, I cannot give a straightforward answer without knowing it. As
No, no,
but
just
there
I
are
am
way.
generally asking like, is it
Uh,
is it having any capability to connect
yes,
any
yes, yes. They
middleware
have a
tools?
capability to integrate with the different tools. Yes,
Middleware tools. Okay,
yes,
that's what my question. Okay.
yeah. If you ask about a particular tool, then I might not be able to give you that answer. But yes, it has capability to integrate with middleware tools.
So any middleware tool, can you give me just an
Right
example?
now, I cannot give. You can drop me a mail. I can answer to that question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Kasi. So we will again take the questions after 10-15 minutes of the session. Okay. Please lower your hands, Sachin and Kasi, and we will proceed with the session. From chat, do we need prior knowledge on DevOps and Kubernetes? Uh, if you have knowledge, that would be great. Otherwise, also these tools you can learn now and implement it when you learn those tools later. See, having DevOps knowledge and Kubernetes, obviously it will be a plus for you. But if you don't have knowledge, also it is fine. We will give you the video recordings and step-by-step documentation for any of the lab or any exercise we do, right? So later on, when you learn those tools, right, you can implement them. So that's not an issue. Are you going to share? Yes, we are going to share the PPTs with the registered participants. Yes, we are going to share. So let's proceed with a certain data. What are the types of data we collect as a part of monitoring? Okay. So any data which we collect for monitoring purpose is called telemetry data. So for collecting this telemetry data, we need to understand how many types of data are there, or the data which we use for monitoring purpose. There are essentially classified into four types: metrics, events, logs, and traces. What is a metric? One second. Yeah. What is a metric? A metric is a type of telemetry data where you have to collect the events that happened in a period, in a certain period. For example, let's say uh, you have a application where certain requests are happening. Okay, if there are how many users have logged into your application, such that if there are 100 users have logged in, and each user has performed certain actions, right? So in a minute, how many such requests are hitting my application, how many activities are being performed, all of them when segregated, each step of that activity is called an event. Okay, so for example, if you take an example of a vending machine, then if there are 100 bags of chips purchased every minute, the metrics are like some comparing, like in a minute how many are happening, how many purchases are happening, something like that. So basically, what is each aggregated value is called a metric. That means what is the parameter, or what is the value it represents a particular event that happened. Then what is the actual event? The event itself is the fundamental action. Okay, for example, a particular activity user did, then it is called an event. Similarly, the value or the data related to that is called metric. So earlier we saw metric is an aggregated value of several events happening over a period of time. Now event is a one time activity, or one action happened at a particular point of time. Like for example, I want to know at a particular time which user has logged in. Okay, that is an event. Or I want to know what message has been sent through my messaging queue during a particular point of time. So this is called event. This is the at a granularity level, event is a one single activity. For example, events can be found in Kafka or PubSub queues, or any of these things. Each and every activity is an event. Okay, metric is the aggregated value of these events. Then what is a log? Now events and metrics, right? They give you certain values, but detailed understanding of an event, we need something like a log. A log is a verbose, human understandable most of the times, of an event, which gives you thorough understanding into what might have happened, what are certain things that went wrong, are there any error indicated, are there any root cause. Certain details will be there in the log. So when we analyze the log, we will get detailed representation of an event. Finally, traces are interactions of microservices that happens whenever any activity is performed, or any request is fulfilled. So when you club all these things, let's say you have an application like e-commerce application, and let's say you came to know that there are payment gateway failures. Now what would you do? You will understand, you will fetch the metrics such that any particular duration, how many payment gateway failures are there, what are the events that correspond to that failures, and take one particular log or several logs to understand why that failure at payment gateway happened. So this is how you proceed step by step. And of course, you will trace the root cause to the particular any service, if any microservice is failing, or any application within the microservice is failing. One second, there is someone who's asking, are there going to be any live project where we can download from? Yes, yes, yes. I'll give you everything. Don't worry. I'm going to give you syllabus and everything. Okay. So there are two methods of metric collection: push and scrape method. Push method is like you have an application's responsibility to send you the metrics to a particular endpoint. For example, you have a database, and now your application should send the metrics to that database, like graphite database, where your Prometheus makes use of this thing. And this is a push method. Push method means application at the backend service sends the metrics whenever something happens. Whereas scrape method, which is mostly used by advanced application performance metrics monitoring tools like Prometheus, what they do, they will connect with the backend service, and whenever event happens, they will take the metrics. That is called scraping. A scraping method is like reading the metrics from every microservice, Prometheus will connect using the APIs exposed by that service, and it will take the metrics. So scraping is something like pull rather than push. So this saves a lot of efforts or offloading the responsibility from service to the monitoring tools like Prometheus and Grafana. Finally, which tool to use is based on whether your service is monolithic or microservices based, what is the complexity and other things. So coming back to this question who everybody is asking, what are we going to discuss? And yeah, Praveen is asking what is different between metric and event. Okay, let me give you an example. You have a vending machine, Praveen. Now I want to know at 3 p.m. exactly at 3 p.m. are there any purchases happened or not from your vending machine? Okay, that is an event. At 3 p.m. you will see, let's say one Coke bottle and one chips have been purchased. That is an event. Now let's say you want to know in first half of your day how much purchase or how much revenue you incurred or you got. For that, you need to stack all those events that happened for several hours, and you will come to know how much revenue got generated, right? So metrics are conglomerate or aggregate values of all events. Event is a single item or single occurrence in point of time, whereas metric is a time based and collection of different metrics, different events. Okay, is it clear, Praveen? So let's go ahead and see the syllabus, what we are going to discuss. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks, Praveen, for coming. So guys, we are going to, we have already started with module 1. What is monitoring, methods of monitoring, what is observability and different, the first module we have discussed already today. So tomorrow onwards, we will straight get into Prometheus. We will discuss what is the architecture of Prometheus, basic terminologies and related to Prometheus, and we will install Prometheus in Windows and Linux. Similarly, we'll proceed to the next module, how to work with Prometheus, collecting the metrics, installing and running exporters. Someone asked me whether they can integrate with middleware tools. We will use exporters for that purpose, and we will see some sample exporters. See, there are thousands of exporters. Okay, I can only give you a handful of exporters for our purposes. So I can give mostly used some. I will pick some exporters and see show you how to install those exporters and run those exporters. These are nothing but integrating Prometheus with your applications and getting the queries back. Then we will see how to work with PromQL, Prometheus query language. As someone asked, do they need any coding experience? If you know SQL, that will be very helpful, and that is great. If you don't know SQL also, PromQL is an easy to learn language. I will provide you certain documentation. You can learn on your free time. And finally, we'll see the alerting in module 3. We'll proceed to module 4, where we will go for Grafana. We will install and configure Grafana in both Linux and Windows and see how to configure Grafana. And then in the module 5, we will see what are the dashboards, how to create a dashboard using Grafana, how to connect Grafana to Prometheus, how to work with alerts, notifications, and annotations in Grafana. And as a project, we will see, as a hands-on project, we will take an example of Kubernetes monitoring with Prometheus. We will use GCP as our cloud platform, and we will use GKE monitoring with Prometheus and Grafana as our capstone project. This all of the sessions will be recorded, and for every module, whatever the PPTs and documents and step-by-step guides required, I will provide you guys. Is Prometheus free to set up? Yes, it is free and open source setup. That's why we choose this. There are alternatives like Dynatrace, and there are other tools which are see, all of us, most of us would be working in an environment where budget constraints are there. So it is preferable to have an open source knowledge and translate them into wherever licensed tool we will be using. Okay, how is Splunk different from this? Splunk is a logging tool which will act similar to Prometheus, but it is more of a logging tool, not of a metrics. For example, what enterprises do, they will use Dynatrace for metrics collection, Splunk for logs collection. Okay, Splunk will have certain capabilities of Prometheus, where Splunk query tool will be there, which will have a similar characteristics of PromQL. You will query your logs and other thing. Only thing is Splunk is managed and it's not free of cost, whereas Prometheus along with Grafana is a thing. Is it only for 8 days and 1 hour session? Yes, Rahul. It is a short course. It is not a full-fledged site reliability engineering course. I want to give you a heads up beforehand. I want to mention that this is an 8-day crash course, and we want to discuss essentials of observability monitoring and how to work with Prometheus and Grafana. We are not going to deep into other tools which are necessary for us, and we don't want to give false promises. So this is what we want to give an observability introduction and how you can work with Prometheus and Grafana in your own environments. Okay. Is Prometheus free to? Yes, they are free to set up. Chaos Engineer, as of now, I'm running experiments on host level during the experiment time. I want to show the 4 golden signals on those Grafana. Is it possible in host level? Yeah, after the final project, you should be able to demonstrate some of them. Yeah. Zabbix, Prometheus, Grafana, how can we use, what is Zabbix, where it will use, and why any alternatives plus Prometheus. See, there are several tools we use. Okay, for example, there are tech stacks itself like ELK, EFK also. Essentially, we will have logging and monitoring and visualization. There are several tools. You have ELK stack, EFK stack. You might have heard. Similarly, Prometheus and Grafana, along with Loki, also we will see here. But Zabbix we won't be seeing it. But instead of Zabbix, you can use them for logs collection and other things. At Sridhar, take it easy. Some of us are really new to these tools. Oh yeah. Thanks, Michael, for the thing. I'm lost when you try to push with golden signal. Hey, yeah, Michael. Guys, this is an introductory class. Okay. We will not, again, I'm saying, like, this is not a site reliability engineering course. Okay, it's not a 30-day course where you will have every tool in the out there to be explained, and it's not a full-fledged site reliability engineering course. It's a monitoring course which will deal with Prometheus and Grafana. I want to keep the expectations very clear with you. Okay, and how agents will send their telemetry data to. That's what we are going to learn in module 2 and module 3, boss. Aditya Dio, we will learn this. No worries. Okay, we will discuss all of them. This is not a single session. Do you conduct any other training of Dynatrace? Dynatrace, we have not scheduled yet. We will have certain course, GCP DevOps course and GCP related inbuilt monitoring thing. But if there is demand, let's see. But I'm working with Dynatrace in my own environment, so I'm good with Dynatrace also. But since it's a licensed tool, we won't be discussing because many of us doesn't have access to, right? So it's not. Okay, guys. This is for introductory class. These are the modules we are going to cover in 8 days. It's a crash course for monitoring and observability. You will get hands-on with Prometheus and Grafana, and the tool the hands-on project will be on GCP with Kubernetes monitoring. Okay, that you can showcase in your resume, saying that how you can monitoring, and you can showcase in your resume for your prospective employers. Okay. Is there 1 week enough to learn? See, learning is a continuous thing. I will teach it and you will have the necessary resource. You need to work on yourself to get better and better day by day. Okay. App Dynamics. What is App Dynamics? Venkata, I lost you. Something. You want to learn App Dynamics? I'm not going to teach App Dynamics in this course. Sorry. This is only about Prometheus and Grafana. Is this 1 week enough to learn? Kasi, enough to teach. Learning is your responsibility. These tools can we use in cloud? Yes, the module 6 is about how to translate that into cloud, right? We are taking GCP as our cloud platform. When is next your GCP class? After this Prometheus and Grafana, we are going to start a session for GCP, full-fledged GCP cloud engineer course will be there. Thanks for asking, Michael. We will keep you updated. Develop and get the job. We can develop and get the job. I mean, I didn't get you, Kasi. Please be clear about your question. What to develop and what to get job. Prometheus is DB. We'll collect and visualize in Grafana. Yes, correct. Prometheus will have a graphite DB, and we can also connect it to any of the third-party DBs also. For example, if you want to connect it to your cloud storage account or any this thing blob storage, you can collect and save them. So you can have that interoperability. That's not an issue. Will you share any document for setting up GKE cluster? Okay, you want to set up GK cluster. Okay, let's do one thing. After module 5, I will be giving you a document and sharing you a video. That won't be a live class, but I will share you a recorded video where you how to set up a GKE cluster and create a free tier account. That should be okay, right? Who is asking that? Praveen. Hope that is okay, Praveen. I can share you the video how to create a free trial account in GCP, how to set up a GKE cluster. I cannot give you Kubernetes knowledge, guys. Please understand. Can we learn this course in a week and be ready to face interview and get the job? See, this is a part of monitoring. Generally, what happens if you are applying for a SRE role, site reliability engineer role, this knowledge of Prometheus and Grafana will help you immensely. Even if you are applying for DevOps role, this monitoring tools is one aspect of it. You need to have several other aspects of it to get a job. If the opinion is especially about Prometheus and Grafana, then okay, then you might be able to give a tough competition. You might get the job. But generally out there, the job description, go to the JD job description and understand what are the requirements and how much percentage or weightage is given to monitoring tools. That determines. Can we learn the code? Okay, yeah. That answers your question, Kasi. Compared to AWS, is GCP or Azure coming up or overtaking AWS? Yeah, according to Gartner report, right? Gartner is a well-known research firm. Slowly, the share of AWS is slowing down, and Azure or GCP are slowly picking up. GCP is still catching up with the thing, but there is a lot of scope because of the advantages like GCP provides security and better alignment with Kubernetes and GKE autopilot cluster. They're fantastic tools. Okay. And pricing wise, it gives a very affordable per second billing. So those are certain things which are lucrative to consumers for migrating to. I myself have migrated Azure based platform to GCP platform. So yeah, GCP is quickly picking up. What all tools are needed to learn from SRE? That I will discuss in SRE batch, not in this. Prometheus covers application monitoring and log monitoring, or it's something like Splunk for log monitoring and Dynatrace for app monitoring. Yeah, Prometheus has metrics monitoring. For log monitoring, we will have a small tool called Loki. We will briefly discuss this, but logs is a very, very big topic in itself. Okay, that has to be discussed when we cover the full SRE thing. Can you please show some sample resumes related to these tools? Sample resumes I'll collect and show you at the end of the program after module 6. Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Chirag. Do you conduct an SRE training? Yeah, we have a GCP course coming up. After that, we are planning for SRE thing. All DBs MySQL project can monitor from project. Yes, anything, any infra, any famous repeated and mostly used tools are can be monitored, and exporters are there for Prometheus and display them in Grafana. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for attending this session. Again, I'm going to tell you these recordings will be available to only those registered participants. And first, only tomorrow's session is free. And in order to attend and get knowledge about Prometheus and Grafana further, please register for the course. And the links for the registration are there in the chat box. Support team can the same time as today. Okay, it starts at 8 a.m. and it will be there for 8 days. Okay, so I'm again pasting the WhatsApp group. Please register in the WhatsApp group. You will get all the information regarding the course in the WhatsApp chat. I ask everyone, request everyone to join and join this WhatsApp group. Okay, any doubts, put it in the chat. I'm ready to answer. Thank you. So actual course starts from tomorrow. Actual course started already from today, Kasi. We have already discussed the introduction, right? We have already discussed. Please maintain this time for your upcoming classes. GCP works well for me. We will see, Michael. The earlier GCP course we concluded last month It ran between 7 a.m. IST to 8 a.m. IST. Let's see if 8 a.m. IST suits for most of the people, then we'll go with that. We'll take that request into consideration, Michael, and I'll talk to the team whether scheduling GCP sessions works or not. GCP classes where I can check. Okay, you talk to the support team, and we are going to start our GCP batch pretty soon. So yeah, sure. Thanks, Michael. We are going to start the GCP batch pretty soon after this Prometheus and Grafana. We will be starting. Anything else? Okay, guys. Thank you so much for being wonderful participants. Tomorrow onwards, we'll start working with Grafana. Okay. The full-fledged SRE batch, we still have to plan, Sridhar. We will let you know. Or you can connect with or keep in touch with our support team. They will help you out in. But join the WhatsApp group. You will get all the information regarding our batches and any other batches also, Sridhar. Sure. Thank you, Deepika. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Okay, guys, signing off. Take care. Have a nice Monday, and see you tomorrow. And don't forget to subscribe and register for this course, and connect with the support team if you have any issues. I've already pasted the thing, and again I'll paste them in the chat. These are the numbers. These are the numbers you need to connect with, and this is the WhatsApp group. Kindly connect with this WhatsApp group and register for the course. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.